escapes, but that was a very tight fight, and it's Fnatic that came out on top, defending off that turret against the Baron up Evil Geniuses. It was a 2 for 4 there in favor of Fnatic.
And we were talking about how far Evil Geniuses were and how they're trying to brute force this down, but we kept mentioning, don't worry, Fnatic, if they get this game going long enough, they'll be strong enough to just take down Evil Geniuses. You saw right there, a 2 for 4, like you said, against a Baron up Evil Geniuses. That is just ridiculous and a smart and a great play out of Fnatic, and they should be able to capitalize off of this. It's going to be picking up a couple more items as well very soon.
Very, very tight fight there, but again, Froggen avoids it. Froggen gets away. 4-0-2. Now he's got that Void Sap as well. He's going to be doing a chunk of damage if he manages to catch and stun on anyone. They will be dead. So very, very difficult play down for the 2 AD carriers, Peke and Yellowstar in this game. They have no magic resist at all, really, built up. Simple Mercury Treads is not really going to be quite suffice for Yellowstar. And the Runic Bulwark, of course, from Cyanide, but it's not going to add a great deal.
This is not good for Peke.
It's going to be Peke getting caught out. Look at that damage straight away. But Froggen, he's calling a Piltover trap there. He's going to try and catch on towards it. The trap's not going to work enough. Peke gets called out. The wall will come out. The control from Froggen is going to be enough. And you can see the damage, and he just lays down there. Just a simple combo takes him straight out.
Just as you mentioned, no one in Fnatic really having magic resist. You see what can happen right there. Froggen just blew him up, took away over half his health with just one combo. And now they're able to push this top turret down a little bit. I mean, we have to remember, it's about 40 minutes in. The respawn timers are extremely long. Expect it's still down for 40 seconds at this point, and so many things can happen in that time.
Yeah, Evil Genius is looking like they're going to try to take advantage and just shove straight along that top way. And remember, Froggen still did have that Baron buff. It has run out now, and he's going to be pushing in towards that top wave. He's got a blue buff on there as well, so the mana's not going to be an issue. They're going to keep on chunking through there. They've got enough to really tank out this turret as well. Wicked with that Randy Omen. You can see the Aegis of Legion, of course, on Snoopy as well. They are going to move in. There's not a great deal of damage, but Froggen's taking a big hurt there. And you can see they're going to try and keep poking it, but that's another inhibitor turret down. Evil Geniuses now 8-5 up in turrets, and that gold advantage, it's still only 2,000 gold.
Sonya's, let the rest of his team catch up and just take them by storm. It's going to be really hard for Evil Geniuses to deal with this, but they still have such a strong comp. You have that knockup sounds out of Cho'Gath. You have the double knockups out of Zac. You have the knockup and the knockback out of Crepo. Like, they have a really strong combo for this.
And the Guardian Angel has also been picked up by Yellow Pete. As you mentioned, he really could do with that. Knows how important he is to that fight. Snoopy now, he's completed the Randy Omen as well. So a very big tanky front line, but if they can pass that front line, there is a very squishy center. And if they can get in towards that, it will go down so quickly. New Baron will be spawning in 3 seconds time. Both these terms know it. Of course, it's going to be Evil Geniuses with the perfect timing on it, but Fnatic are aware that it will be happening very soon. The fact that they see Froggen with that Oracle clearing out the wards means they're going to start moving into position for it.
And Evil Geniuses, with that Oracle, they should be able to just bait Fnatic into this. However, Fnatic has some good, not coverage, but they have the ability to spot everything with the Repel, obviously, off Elise. They have the traps out of Caitlyn. And you have Froggen with Oracle himself just trying to clear this vision away. We saw last time that UT went for a Baron, they had so much vision on the top side of the map. They saw Fnatic coming from a mile away, and they're trying to set that up yet again.
Oh, and they do manage to catch Snoopy out there.
Wow.
Look at that, the Fang's sinking. That's how much damage can come out from Soaz. He really did a chunk, considering he's got that Randian's Omen on him. He's got that Aegis of Legion, but it doesn't matter because it's ability power coming out from Soaz, and he just absolutely chunked it down. They may be thinking, it's about time we turn that into a Runic Bulwark.
Yeah, it might help quite a bit on him, because you just, I mean, we talked about Soaz, like he had 300 ability power when you talked about him previously about having so much damage. He has 495 now, so the damage he does, considering his percent damage, is just ridiculous. And if he can chunk down Snoopy, who's arguably one of their tankiest members of the team, it's not looking good.
Thornmail being picked up by Wicked now. Of course, that makes sense against the double AD combo. And as he is the man that's launching straight in towards the center of them and into the back, it makes perfect sense. And realizing, going with the situational play, Wicked sat staring down the Baron right now, thinking, can I do it?
I can take you.
I can take it. I can do it. I can do it.
I'm almost as tall as you, too. But it looks like they will go for it here. No one in Fnatic is really in position to stop this, and this should be another free Baron for Evil Geniuses. The bot wave is pushed up very hard right now, and they have to deal with that, but giving away a Baron is not ideal.
Not ideal at all, and that realizes Baron has gone, and that's the second Baron picked up by Evil Geniuses. Still the gold, so close. He's just going to take down the red buff. Froggen really wanted to get around and take that one, but the ward spotted him coming.
And we have Sonnet actually picking up a Negatron poke right now, so he even realizes the power of Frog, and with just the damage he has, even Wicked, who does quite a bit, even though he's built relatively tanky in this entire situation, he has a good amount of penetration because he has a sword boost. You have to keep that in mind. Like, that gives him enough damage just based off his percent health damage off of his W, which is currently at 10% of their max health. So every time he pops that, 10% of their health's gone. If he can sit in the middle of Fnatic's team and use that, that is just ridiculous how much damage it's going to do in the entirety of the fight.
What is Yellow Star starting to build towards here? He's got his Muramana in there completely. He's got to play the Rune King Bloodthirster and Last Whisper. Do you think he's going to go straight into He has no messenger, straight damage, whereas we see Peke and Froggen actually both picking up Giant Spells now.
I think he needs that extra damage. Like, he doesn't have the ability to get in really close, so he wants to shred through the people that are close to him. He has the Last Whisper already done. I think that's the item he's going to go for with that pickaxe, but we do have Ichi with that Baron buff, pushes the inhibitor down, and you still see, like, you've seen how cautious they are. They have Baron, they have 5 members, they have a GA on Yellow Pete, but with how much crazy damage Soaz can do, they're really hesitant to go for this.
Ooh, the wall comes out, the rappel goes in. Soaz thought about coming in for that one. Cyanide taking a combo from Froggen, but it didn't do a crazy amount of damage. They do take down this inhibitor, and like you mentioned, if there happened to be a turret right there, that would have been a very, very tight fight, but they did hit and run, they got the inhibitor, and now they're going to turn and shove that top lane and push it in towards Fnatic space.
It honestly blows my mind right there just to see how defensive and how passive evogenesis was taking that inhibitor, because they have Baron buff. They're still relatively far ahead. They have a great set of items, they have a great engage if they need it, but they know that if they lose this game, if they make one slip up, they'll be out of the playoffs and Fnatic will take the series.
It's so tight between them, of course. A lot of money on the line here. It's a $100,000 tournament, the spring playoffs. Of course, this is the first split of the tournament. Summer LCS will be beginning in the summer. Don't know the exact date. Sorry, guys. I'd love to be able to give you the details, but when I don't know them, there's no way you guys are going to know them. The walls coming out there, and again, they're pushing on towards that inhibitor in the top wave. We do see the cocoon land. It's Yellow Pete that got caught out, and he got chunked straight down half health instantly. Just that single little burst there. He has got the Guardian Angels, but you saw how dangerous it is if he can get caught out.
We have to point this out. I talked about during the Copenhagen Wolves game in EG when we saw Froggen playing Anivia. When his wall is down, look at it.
Wicked. He's chunked down half his health as well. Those flubbery bits are flying, and now we're going to see N-Rated engaging. He dives on towards Froggen in the back there. The 280 carries into great disruption coming out from Crepo, though. He keeps them back. It's going to be N-Rated going down. The ultimate, the Zhonya's comes out from Soaz, tries to catch on towards them. The wall catches across them, but still, Fnatic, it's a 1-0 right now to evogenesis, and it's evogenesis that are going to keep pushing on. Fnatic had to back away.
And the 80 carries weren't being touched that entire fight. They were just sitting in the back line attacking as much as possible, getting evogenesis very, very low.
Inhibitor has respawned. They're going to take that one down, and we're going to see double super minions coming out from evogenesis base.
And look at that damage that Cyanide took right there. He just got caught off with that wall and just got blown up. And I saw Wicked actually dove into a trap. So he was like, ooh, a cupcake, and went straight for it, and unfortunately got caught down. We do see Wicked trying to go back in, but they need to back away. They have Expectate and Yellow Star still alive, and they can take them down.
They can take them down. They can do a hell of a lot of damage. So evogenesis, they've taken all of the base now of Fnatic. They are looking like they may well take this 1-1. The pressure is almost certainly on. It's a 6-item build for many members of the teams right now. And let's just look across them. You can see Infinity Edge, Phantom Dancer, Bloodthirster, Static Shiv, and Last Whisper picked up by Peke. Full on AD carry, no messing around, get straight in there. All about the damage, but it's evogenesis that are starting off the Baron.
And did you say that Expectate actually had a Giant Spell earlier?
He did.
So he sold it because he used it for that fight, sold it, and then picked up that Phantom Dancer. That's just ridiculous. Like, you don't really see AD carries ever go this kind of 6-item building mode. They usually have one defensive item. You can look over ALP, and there's my case right there, but that is going to hurt so much. The thing is that they can't deal with the wall that Froggen's putting down. Luckily for them, they don't have to fight any chokes now, so the wall has to become less and less effective. And you see,
what is he doing? He's dancing. Oh, the taunts from Froggen right now. As he
oh, no, what he's doing, okay, what he's doing is he's waiting on the blue buff because he wants his team to come. He wants that blue to last as long as possible, so when they actually go for the siege, they'll have that blue up the entirety of the time. And I said he does a little more taunting.
Yeah, he is taunting. So young, so naive. I can see a big smile on his face in the camera in the corner.
I think that's his wink to us that he didn't do earlier.
That's his wink that it won't turn into a blink. It didn't quite work out for him. But nevertheless, there's super minions going up the top, middle, and bottom. And they are double super minions shoving in there. Snoopy's starting to start clearing out the top wave. The bottom wave shoving itself. And evogenesis, they're getting ready to finish the game.
And Yellow Star, he sold his boots and picked up a Zephyr. We see Crepo getting caught right now. Fnatic could take this game.
They dived in there. Chain of Corruption comes straight out, though. And the Hail of Arrows lands, and Soaz has had to use that Zhonya's Hourglass. There's so so much damage coming out from Yellow Pete. He repels away. Cyanide gets popped out there. So as he's got nothing to escape, he flashes through, but it's straight into the arms of Wicked. And now Enrage is being chased down. It's a double kill for Wicked. He's got both AD carries down. Fnatic are dropping, and it's going to be Evil Geniuses taking it to the third game against Fnatic. 16-5 in kills and a dominant performance after 52 minutes. The game was so close, but Evil Geniuses continue their dominance on blue side. Can they answer though on the red side? Will they pick up that win? Or Fnatic in the third game, could they take it? What a game.
That really is the question at the end. I mean, we had a 7,000 goal difference at the end right there when the entire lead was about 2,000 max the entire game. 52-minute long game. They have their work cut out for them in the next best of three, or sorry, the next match in the best of three.
So we are, of course, going to go across to Joe Miller and Trevor Quickshot Henry to take us through that 52-minute epic.
Thanks a lot, guys, and it was an epic indeed. I mean, Evil Geniuses, again, going by that Evil Genius style, just running things out, taking the Baron, playing things safe, not wanting to go too deep at any possible moment. And, well, that's what they needed here. Of course, if they'd have lost that one, they would have been out from this semi-final.
They ended up picking up 2 kills at, the end of that, feeding a second kill to Froggen, and that was it. He was never in danger from that moment on. I think he finished without any deaths at all at the end of that matchup.
6-0-7.
Cannot give him the bird.
Froggen on Anivia. What can we say? You just can't really afford to do that one whatsoever. And so a great second game there for Evil Geniuses. And don't forget, guys, we're tied up at 1-1 now, and you can still get your votes in for the winner of this game over on lolesports.com. After a short break, though, we'll be back with the third and final game between Fnatic and EG and see who will go through to the final.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So, game 3 of the semi-finals. Evil Geniuses versus Fnatic will be getting underway just a few short minutes, of course, the players are just taking a small break. As you would expect, they are all running around. There's a cup of tea in the hand of Snoopy, I might add, so it's looking like it may well be another long game.
Yeah, I believe yesterday he was actually starting to get a little bit sick, and he was coughing during their series against Copenhagen Wolves, but hopefully he's doing all right, because that was a phenomenal game out of everyone at Evil Geniuses.
If you're an Englishman and you've got a cup of tea, although I should say Scotsman, really, because they're not really English, are they?
I hate tea.
I just started off the whole England v Scotland thing right now. I know it. I can feel it. Everybody else in the world doesn't get a monkeys, but England, Scotland, oh, it's important. It's important as well. We do see it.
And I have to say, like, even Joe pointed out on the analysis test that getting that blue over to him right away made it so the range that happened between him and Expected didn't affect him as much. And was able to, take that lane and snowball a little bit more. But in terms of bans, we've seen Kha'Zix banned out every game so far. We've seen Kasim banned out every game so far. We've seen Zed banned out every game so far. So a lot of high damage, mid, potentially top lane champions.
So there's a lot of champions out there, and the bans then they're going to have to try and adapt and overcome. Let's see how that works out. But let's look at the promo to start with, because, of course, there is another game today, and that is, of course, going to be Gambit versus SK Gaming. That is the semi-final match that will be happening after this one. You can see SK Gaming, they passed Against All Authority. Fortunately for Against All Authority, it was a disqualification. You can check out the news on that one on the LeagueOfLegends.com forums, as well as the Lolly Sports. I believe it may well be a link on there as well. Of course, you guys on Reddit, you know where it is, because you guys follow the esports scene. So that does mean that SK Gaming versus Gambit, that will be coming up after this match, this final match of the series. Currently 1-1. You can see Fnatic versus Evil Geniuses. Evil Geniuses did take down Copenhagen Wolves. They took it 2-1. Can they do the same against Fnatic, or will they fall against Fnatic, who really have had their number for the last 6 months? Of course, there is also relegation matches coming up. Or, I mean, it's a bit harsh to call it that. It's not quite in it. It's more of a negative light. It's a promotion matches coming up, of course, from the amateur scene, and you can see there is a lot of teams in there. Let's go through the Meteor Makers. They were one of the teams that many people were expecting in the European LCS before when we were in Warsaw, but they fell to the Dragonborn. So if they were to get past Extra Actually Evil, who are a very strong team themselves, it would be a rematch almost of Warsaw right there. Alternate versus Wizards as well. That's a very strong one. Again, could be Spaniards versus Spaniards if Wizards sneak through.
And of course, we got Sinners Never Sleep versus TCM Gaming, which TCM as well did play in the qualifiers for the spring split of LCS. Could be going up against, and again, I always do that, going up versus against Authority. I try to segue it through that. And of course, Samurai and Jeans versus Nexus Esports, who also did play in the qualifiers, going to be playing against the Copenhagen Wolves. And looking across, there's going to be no easy matches whatsoever for either team, and that is a best of 5. So we saw how best of 3 can affect the teams who don't experience it too much yesterday. It could be even worse than a best of 5.
Yeah, they're clear tip of the hat to the ninjas in pajamas there from the samurais in jeans, I feel. But the Copenhagen Wolves and Against All Authority, obviously two of the teams that we do see go through from this playoff series. And you got to feel they're probably going to be favorites to get through. Really, any LCS team should be the favorite to get through, but we're not sure, because the amateur teams that are coming up are listed there are all very strong.
Yes, they are. And the thing is, we have to point out is that, Dragonborns, we didn't see them do too well in LCS. They had roster changes, but they've been pretty much boot camping for this entirety of the time they've had between being knocked out or jumping onto this and then going to be playing next week. So we could see a completely different team out of them. But just, sitting there and realizing we've seen these teams for 10 weeks. We've seen them evolve. We've seen them grow. And to realize they could potentially not be in the summer split is just kind of mind-blowing.
It's a little scary for some of those guys as well, because this is their careers, of course, that they are talking about. But let's look ahead at the next match that will be coming up. Gambit versus SK. The teams are just setting themselves up now, so the picks and bans will be coming out in a few moments. They're still just got to set up. They're not even in the game right now. But Gambit versus SK, how do you see that one going? Because SK actually picked up a win over Gambit in week 9, and that was the first win they've had in a very long time.
And that was a very one-sided win as well. Like, it was just ridiculous how many kills they got. I mean, that was when also was playing Twisted Fate, so I would expect that to be banned out. But I can tell you this: I'm not gonna tell you who's gonna win, but I can tell you it's gonna be a very good set. However, Gambit has been finally boot camping this week. Like, they have been sitting here practicing every day. They've been at the studio just playing every day for 8 hours, it seems, and they really want to win this. Like, they want to like kick out SK, because they've had all week to practice for them. SK had to prepare for Against Authority, then prepare for Gambit, and then potentially the winner of this semifinal. So Gambit, it looks like they probably have the preparation underway.
And this is actually the first time that Gambit, for a long time, since March, I believe, since the beginning of March, that they've actually sat and practiced together. So they've not really had a chance. You heard Alex Sitch talking about it, they joked about it. The fact that they practice in their sleep, that is really the only chance they get, the only time they have it. And, Peke will be coming up in a moment. And those guys, Fnatic, they've been in the gaming house here, which is why they've ended up #1 and Gambit #2. Gambit are really not happy with that, and they're going to be out to prove a point, and it's really for SK Gaming, who are themselves are trying to prove a point, to try and stop them.
But how do you stop Groove's belt? That's the real question. Like, not about stopping anyone in game, but how do you stop his belt? Because it really gives him a lot of motivation. And you have to keep in mind, they've been traveling week in and week out this entire the 10 weeks. Like, that has to take a number on you. You have to be so tired, you have to be so worn out, mentally and physically, but they've still been putting on some great shows. Being second in LCS like that is extremely hard to do. I would never want to be in that situation.
So the teams are almost ready to go. Evil Geniuses versus Fnatic is the game right now. If you've just joined us, well, you've missed two fantastic games. Fnatic took the first one, and Evil Geniuses responded in kind, so we aren't going all the way in this series. It's going to be 2-1 to someone, but who will it be?
Can't wait to find out, I can tell you that. And, you know, honestly, the picks and bans are going to be a little interesting. I expect, you know, something very similar to happen, what we've been seeing, you know, go on, with just taking out those very high damage champions early on, but it kind of tells you what they want to go for, because we've seen both teams build a little bit tanky. You know, you had Zach at the top lane for SOAS, who just built straight tank. Then you had Wicked build a little bit of damage and straight tank with him. It just kind of shows how these teams are going to play this one out. And I wouldn't be surprised if this game goes about 60 minutes long, because they're fighting for the playoffs, so they're fighting for that $100,000.
You can see with Genius, they look prepared. Fnatic look like they're ready and waiting to go, so hopefully we will be starting. So, picks and bans, all important now. Big game, big match against them. What are we thinking here? They're about to get underway. We saw Jarvan the fourth, importantly banned out. Seemed to work so well for Cyanide, so I'd expect that to go. Thresh has been banned out already. Could we see a Kassadin, Twisted Fate sneaking through these bans this time around?
What do you remember that? So if Evil Genius is going to leave Kassadin open, they have to leave Twisted Fate open. Like, they have to pretty much guarantee they can get one of those potentially. So that's the problem they're going to run into here, as they do take out Kha'Zix, and Luck's being taken away as well. So very similar bans to what we've seen before. And like you predicted, that Jarvan will be taken away from Cyanide, who was just so troublesome for him. Like, that whole combo of his knockups with Zach in game number 1 was just insane.
Yep, we see Zed taken away as well, so neither Wicked or SOAS are going to be allowed on that one. Or actually, Peke has been using Zed a few times as well. So final ban coming out. Evil Genius, his discussion going out. Wicked will be the man banning it.
We have a problem, though, because Kassadin and Twisted Fate haven't been banned out yet. So if you ban one, Fnatic can pick one up. Obviously, you don't want to pick up Kassadin right away.
Twisted Fate allowed.
Yes.
They've done this on purpose. They've chosen to let this through. Fnatic have gone for it. They've picked up Twisted Fate. We're going to see Peke on it.